Ms. Capes, students, thank you for asking me these questions. I'm flattered, I'm honored that you would care to ask me any questions, although I know it was a bit of an assignment too. I'm going to try and answer some of them in this video. What made me become a teacher and a journalist? I always wanted to work in radio, and I started working in radio when I was at Niagara College, taking radio and television, and I gradually became involved in the TV station here, the Coach Go. Used to be called McLean Hunter, then it was Rogers. I've been with them doing this kind of stuff for over 30 years, believe it or not. Usually, almost all of it as a volunteer basis, but not always. When I do the political coverage, I do get paid for that. So that was my first love. Teaching pays the bills, and I love teaching. It's something that I never thought I would do, that I would become a teacher, but it just sort of fell into my life, and I'm really glad that I did that, and I can do both of these things at the same time. Some of my most memorable interviews, I guess, might be meeting Pete Rose, the legendary baseball player, Daisy Duke, the actress who played Daisy Duke on Dukes of Hazzard. But really, those aren't the most memorable. The most memorable are, the people in the community that are really doing things because they care. I can't say that I ever really get starstruck, and you really have to sometimes try and make sure that you don't, right? Because you don't want to gush over these famous people when you're interviewing them, because they get that all the time, and you need to be professional. So I try not to do that. Some tips for you on how to do this correctly: listen. It's all about listening. If you're prepared enough, obviously being prepared is important, but you over prepare, which is what I try and do all the time, so that as I'm listening, I'm not afraid to move off of my scripted questions and to jump in on something that came up with one of those answers. So don't be afraid to go off the script. Dig through everything you can find as you're preparing. Go back into the history, talking about some memorable moments. The new president of the Chamber of Commerce locally, when he took the job, I looked into his past history, realized that he wrote a book 25 years ago. I asked him about it in the interview that I had with him, and it stopped him in his tracks because he had forgotten all about that book. It was from so long ago, and the book is out of print. So, those kinds of things, being over prepared. Working from home. Some of my favorite things, I guess, about working from home since this pandemic started, I think we've done over 200 interviews, which is amazing. It's much more than I would have done without being able to work from home. We've been able to talk to people from all over the place without them leaving their homes, which is kind of important. But I really do miss getting out there and seeing people and, interviewing them in their own environment. So I would say just the sheer volume of interviews that we've been able to do since we're working from home. Some advice for those of you thinking about getting into this: learn as much as you can, right? So, if you go on into college or university and you take a political science degree or a science degree or a business degree, make sure that you can apply that in a broadcast journalism kind of field as well. Get involved. If you go to Brock University, there's something there called Brock TV. Volunteer, right? Volunteer to write for the newspaper at the college or the newspaper at the university. Do all of those things and don't give up. And also, if you decide on a career in broadcast journalism or radio or any of those kinds of things, be prepared to go where the jobs are and always adapt, because as you know already, this field changes every month. You need to be able to adapt.